Hi, everyone. Welcome and thank you all for being here. Today, we have a very special guest speaker. Her name is Camila, a multimedia engineer, scrum master, and project manager. Cami will be talking about how to go from building software to leading teams. So, without further ado, I invite her to take the stage and all of you feel free to leave your questions in our live chat. They will be answered at the end of the session. Cami, take it away.
Thank you, Debbie. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining this first Lunch and Learn space of the year. So today we will be talking a little bit about project management. The title of this talk is Beyond the Code, from building software to leading teams. So what is our content for today? We will be taking a brief look on what are the basics of project management, definition of it, some phases that you encounter in this process, what is the role of a project manager, and how does this journey from development to management look like, and some challenges and rewards that you may face in this career path, and also some success stories from the IT industry. And we will be solving questions at the end of this talk. So let's start. What is project management? So according to the Association for Project Management, APM, it involves managing discrete packages of work to achieve objectives. So a discrete package of work or just a package of work can be seen as one of the deliverables we have for a specific product in our industry. That could be a feature, for example, that's a package of work. So it is characterized by having a final deliverable, and a finite time span. So that's one of the main characteristics of project management. And our goal is to deliver products that create benefit for the organization and ensure an efficient use of the resources to meet the stakeholders' needs. So let's take a look at 5 phases that you could face in project management. This could vary depending on the specific needs of the product or the industry. So let's go with the first one, conception and initiation. Here's where we define, like in a big picture, our project and gather all the requirements that we need for a green light from upper management or the stakeholders involved. So here's where we defined the basis for our project. And this is regularly accomplished in a document called the project charter. So the next step is the definition and planning of our project. And here is where we define budgets, scopes, documents like the work breakdown structure that will guide the development of this product. And we also define clear strategies to communicate with stakeholders and also with the team members. And we take a look at the possible risks that we could face in the particular project and how can we mitigate them. Our third phase is where we execute all this plan, where we carry out all the activities that we described earlier, and we keep a track of them. And we also perform quality analysis, and that allows us to even do forecast on the project and the activities and the pace that we are having to deliver that final project. Our fourth phase is performance and control. And here we keep track of the quality in the deliverables, the effort involved in the whole process, the costs, and the overall performance of the project and the progress. So here is very important to pay attention to the items that may change, because even when we are creating a very detailed plan, the plan doesn't always go as expected. So here you need to be aware of that and create strategies to deal with that without impacting the final timelines and the project scope. And our final and fifth phase is where we close the project formally, and we create documents to record all the learnings and the achievements of this project. So who is the person leading all these phases? The project manager. So let's take a look at the key responsibilities of a project manager. This involves planning and scheduling, managing resources, leading the teams, and communicating with the stakeholders and the teams and probably other actors involved, to do risk management, to implement quality control, agile and scrum practices, and to be always in a mindset that provides problem solving and to learn continuously of your project and your team to improve all the time. So what are skills that could be beneficial or are essential for this kind of roles? The first one is leadership. And please take a look at the icon that I am using here, because it's related to the style of leadership used in Scrum, which is servant leadership. How can I be better to serve my team better? So this is all about learning how to inspire your team and how to motivate them so everyone achieves the final goal. The second skill is communication. Here, it's crucial to be effective conveying your ideas and your thoughts to a wide variety of audiences. And it's also key to be a good listener, to develop that skill, to gather information and then use that information to transform it in new ideas. And that allows you to negotiate with the team, with the stakeholders, ideate trade-offs when needed. So it's also an essential skill here. The third one is organization, because sometimes you could be managing multiple projects, and it's very important to create systems or methods that allow you to manage these multiple tasks involved in project management effectively. Our next skill is problem solving, because of course it's crucial to be able to analyze complex situations and find creative solutions. And this not always means technical problem solving. Sometimes you have to also apply this creativity and find different solutions in terms of human relationships and dealing with the stakeholders' expectations. So it is a skill that covers many aspects of a project. Then we have adaptability, which is related to the previous one. We need to be able to adjust the plans and the project requirements according to the different conditions of this ever-changing world quickly and effectively. And the final skill to be mentioned here, which is risk management, is also related to adaptability, because when planning for risks, we are never sure it could happen or not at 100%. It's always something varying in the process. So it's a vital skill to be able to oversee possibilities and how to mitigate risks. So how can we transition from development into management role? In the ever-evolving world of technology, you never stop learning, and this is also a position where you never stop learning. And it's a blend between existing skills that you may have as a developer and all that technical knowledge, and also embracing and transforming your mindset and acquiring new skills. So let's take a look at what could be skills that overlap from the development perspective in this roles of management. So the first one is, of course, problem solving, because as developers, we are always creating software to solve something. That's the main goal. So that's inherent in our mindset as developers, and also the technical knowledge, of course, which is vital here and a great plus when you are dealing with management, because it allows you to see other perspectives that come from limitations in the software maybe, and other technical aspects that may not be so evident for other persons in the conversation. The third skill that overlaps is attention to detail. When we are coding and there is something that's not working as expected, we are both the murderer and the police trying to figure out what's going wrong. So a simple character can entirely change the code. So this is a skill that developers already have, attention to detail. And then we have time management. When you are building code, you are aware that you have timelines and that you need to complete certain activity within a time span. So this is also something that overlaps. Here it's a bit different in management because you will be considering like a wider range of times and activities and moving parts in the process, but it's something already familiar for your brain. And the last one is strategic thinking. And this refers to, for example, the scenarios when, as a developer, you might be building something to receive 2 inputs, but you are building the whole thing to be able to receive 100 inputs at some point. So that's strategic thinking. That's seeing the big picture and creating strategies for it. And then in the side of the new skills that you will require for this kind of roles, as we mentioned, we have leadership, the most important one, and communication. And also we have risk management, as it was mentioned before. And for this item, I think it links with the technical knowledge skill that overlaps because you are better able to foresee some things that can go wrong in the project when you have ground knowledge on how the technology works. The fourth one is crucial. It's a key aspect here to understand the business thoroughly, to understand the concerns of the business, why it works the way it works, who is involved in that specific business. And then the fifth one is emotional intelligence, because the title of this talk is also Beyond the Code, because beyond the code, we are people. We are just human beings beyond the code. So there is no one-fits-all formula to address to someone. So it's a skill that you need to develop and learn how to read people and how to be aware of the emotional aspect of that human aspect behind the relationships in your project. So this is a rough overview on how this process of translating your technical expertise into a leadership role could look like. So in the first step, we have enhanced communication skills, because that will be a vital skill in your journey into leadership to improve your availability and your perspective, the way you see things and the way you communicate them. The second one is to develop leadership qualities, of course, to inspire and guide others and to be a person that brings value into the decision-making process. The third one is to learn project management fundamentals. This is more about learning, you could say, the rules in the book for project management, to learn about several techniques for project planning and risk management and allocation of resources and how to create effective plans. So this is a skill that you can learn through many ways. We have books, online courses, and many other digital resources that you can find on this topic. The fourth is gain business acumen. As I was mentioning, understanding the broader business context and the market is crucial because our projects will be impacted by that. So we need to learn how this works and how to negotiate with that part of our project, of the business that is handling the things on top sometimes. And then at the fifth step is where we start putting all this into motion for a leadership role. So if you're part of a Scrum team, you may already have practiced some of the skills. For example, communication in the daily stand-ups, or even doing demos at the end of the sprint for a client. So if you start volunteering for positions that involve these skills, this communication and leadership skills, you will gain more experience and will keep learning on strategies that could be effective for you on this role. So volunteering for different team activities or even organization activities is always a good idea. And after that, of course, seek feedback because we are continuously learning. So look for someone who can provide constructive feedback that you can apply to improve in your journey. And the 7 is to always keep applying your knowledge and keep adapting that, to keep applying your technical expertise in management scenarios and keep adapting based on the experiences you gather and the feedback you gather. Okay, so let's take a look at some challenges and rewards that you can face on this career path. So in the rewards, we have the achievement of goals. It's incredibly satisfying when you are leading a project and it comes to a successful end and the client is happy and you see the target users making an efficient use of the technology you provided for them. So that's very rewarding. Then we have leadership development. As it has been mentioned many times throughout the talk, leadership is always under construction. It's a skill that, for me, it's never perfect. You can always keep improving, keep developing that talent. So participating in this kind of roles allows you to grow on that skill. And connected to that, we have career advancement. Management is just one of the many aspects in a project and is a very interesting option. So if you have ever considered this path, as the other Roosevelt said, believe you can and you are halfway there. So that's also a great reward on this area, to see that you can try different paths in life and create successful outcomes for it. Our final item in the rewards is impact, because when you are part of the decisions and the planning for a project, you feel more connected with the final impact that it could have in the society or in the target audience for that specific product. So that's also an up of all this work for me. And then we have the challenges. One big challenge could be resource constraints, because sometimes the project can be limited halfway in your plan, and that can cause frustration. So it's also a situation where you have to learn to deal with frustration and negotiate and find a middle point with maybe the person providing the resources without bringing down the morale of your team. So that's a challenge. And of course, we have time management, which I think it's connected to scope creep, because when scope creep happens, time management is affected. So it's a challenge to keep that balance and to stay flexible in terms of the requirements when it's needed, without affecting the final scope or the time management of your project. And finally, we have the team dynamics, because as I mentioned before, you have to continuously learn from your team, learn from them as persons, what motivates them, what frustrates them, to be able to communicate better your ideas and to articulate effective work for the whole team. So now let's take a look into some success stories that I want to share with you. The first one is Satya Nadella. Satya Nadella started as a software engineer at Sun Microsystems, and he joined Microsoft in 1992. He became a CEO in 2024, and he transformed the culture and the business model. He focused Microsoft business model into cloud computing and AI. Under his leadership, they developed Azure, So that helped Microsoft regain its position as one of the top tech companies. One of the challenges he faced was that Microsoft had at that moment a very stiff culture, and the internal mood was that everyone was competing internally. So that wasn't very healthy for the developers, and he knew that because he was a developer himself. So he started by changing the culture, and one of the phrases I want to share from him is that our industry doesn't respect traditions, it respects innovation. So that's how he shifted Microsoft culture into a learning environment and improved the well-being of the employees. And of course, that impacted the company's revenue and the general perception of the company. And then the second story is Marissa Mayer. She was the first female engineer working at Google in 1999. And then after being a developer for Google, she joined Yahoo as their CEO. In her major change in Yahoo's process was that she brought her expertise as a developer in the area of user experience for Yahoo. And they built a new approach in the product development process focused on the user experience. Under her leadership, they acquired Tumblr and they started to focus on younger audiences. And that's how they expanded their product portfolio and relaunched Yahoo emails. And one phrase about her or from her that I want to share is that she said that I always did something that I was a little not ready to do. So this is also about courage and finding the motivation to bring strategies that are sometimes disruptive for companies, but that could lead into a major impact. Okay, so now let's go with some questions you may have.
Okay, well, Cami, thank you so much for sharing what you know. Yes, we have received a couple of questions, so I'm going to start with the first one. Fausto asked, which resources do you recommend for our continued preparation towards becoming a project manager?
Okay, so one resource I like is a book. I'm looking for it because I don't remember the title from memory. But this is more about how to improve your leadership skills. And the title of this is Drive, the surprising truth about what motivates us. So that's a great book on leadership. And in the project management aspect, I will say that the best source is the official source as the PMP certifications. And you can find online courses about it, like breaking down all that heavy material into smaller pieces that you can study part by part. So on that area, that information. And also there is a global organization called Toastmasters, and they are focused in improving speech for people in many industries. So I think they have online presence throughout the world, so you can look for their meetings, their online meetings, and they gather and debate and improve the communication skills in a very friendly environment. So that could be also a resource to improve your communication and the way you convey ideas.
Okay, thank you, Cami. We have another question. Giselle asks, what has been the most challenging project you have led and how did you go about it?
Okay, so the most challenging project was when I was working with a team building an application for desktop devices on Unity. And the main challenge we had here was that we released
a first version of the product for a specific sport event. And after that, we got a request to make a second part for a different event. And they asked to send the information of our application, our tracking data of the user's activity inside of the app, to a Microsoft tool called App Store, I think. And the thing was that the capability to connect that Microsoft resource with Unity for desktop applications wasn't developed at that point. And the client was insisting on getting the information on that resource because they did that in the past with an Android application. And they were saying, it's possible, so why are you not delivering this for us? And I had to reach out to the person who wrote the documentation about this Microsoft feature to get a formal communication saying that it was a technical impossibility, that Microsoft hasn't developed that, that it didn't exist at the moment, to manage that expectation from the client and find another way to send the information they wanted to gather in a different tool, maybe for marketing or for further study of the behavior of the users inside the app. So that was very challenging to deal with that blocker and to find a creative way to solve it, to go above and beyond on everything that I could do, to find an expert on the area that could bring the necessary knowledge to convince the client on taking a different approach.
Okay. And we have one final question. How long does it take a person to become a project manager in terms of preparation?
I think that is related to each person. It depends on probably the point where you're at with your skills and how much time you want to put into polishing those skills. Because on the learning part, you could take the course and probably in a year, I think you can complete the studies and the course with a good pace. You could do that even in less time, but that's just the theoretical knowledge. As I mentioned, there are many different skills that you build over time that are required or crucial for this role to succeed in this area of management.
Okay. Any particular age that one has to be in order to become a project manager? It's also part of this last question.
Not really.
Okay.
It's more like a personal trait. If you like to talk with people, if you enjoy that part of the project process, then maybe this could be a career path for you.
Okay. Well, Cami, those are the questions that we have received. Thank you so much for joining, for sharing what you know. And thank you all for joining and for being here. We look forward to seeing you in our next session. Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe. Bye.
Bye.